Hello and welcome to Voices of Parenting podcast. I am so glad you're here. My name is Mussi. I am an advanced nurtured heart approach trainer. I am a parenting coach. I am also an inner wealth coach, which means that I help people rediscover and connect to the people that they truly were all along, but may have gotten forgotten along the way. So to find out more about me and what I offer, you can check out mussidiskin.com. I would love to connect and I would love to hear your feedback. Reach out to energizinghearts@gmail.com. Thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hello, everybody. Today we are connecting with Keren Eliezer all the way from Israel. So it is nighttime for her, and I was just telling her before that I feel like I didn't even wake up yet. So our world is so small now that we can connect all around it in this wonderful way. Yeah, and you are a nurtured heart trainer that I met through the trainer WhatsApp or somehow, I don't even remember how, but how cool is that?
I did a training that you were very involved in.
Oh, okay.
Almost 3 years ago.
I was at the CTI, that's right. Yes.
So I think we connected that way. It was online.
Yeah.
And then I joined a group that you were in, and the rest is history.
There you go. So yeah, so tell the listeners who you are, what you do, what's bringing us together.
I'm a social worker. I'm a licensed social worker. I work in the municipality next to where I live. I help English speakers through schools, managing schools, and I'm also a family social worker in social services. On the side, I also offer consulting services to families who are looking to move to Israel and are looking for schools for their children. And in my personal life, I have 5 very vibrant children. And at some point, I was just really struggling with my number 2. She was 3 at the time. And I came across an ad on a Facebook group that I never check. And it just, it was totally meant to be. I happened to log in and I saw this flyer for a 6-week course for Nurtured Heart. And I didn't think twice about it. I signed up immediately. It was with Sephora Wayne, who has since moved to Israel, thank God. And I didn't even realize that it was in a completely different time zone as me. So I was just so desperate. I signed up, I registered, and then afterwards I was like, oh, I'm going to have to listen to all the recordings. But thank God it all worked out. And I was blown away. I was like, this makes sense. And it really resonated with me. And Sephora is just like a very fun personality. She has a very fun way of describing things. And I was like, I was hungry for more. After I did the 6-week course, I was hungry for more. I was like, okay, how do I get more involved? What do I need to do? And that's how I came to the CTI where we met. And since then, it's just been like a lot of learning, a lot of growing. And in doing the CTI, I now get to pass it on, which is really cool. I get to use it as part of what I do as a social worker and as guiding families who are looking to move to the country. And I really, every time I get to teach it, I enjoy going through the material over again and refreshing it in my own mind and reinforcing it in my own home. So it's really been such a pleasure and it feels like such a saving grace, really, to have an HA in my life.
I feel compelled to ask you, we have such a similar story. I have 5 kids.
Oh, yeah?
And my second sent me to the CTI and sent me to Nurtured Heart. Yeah. And she was probably 3 or 4 when I realized that I'm not really so okay, even though I thought I knew what to do. And I was such a good mother before I had kids.
Yeah. So I felt really, I grew up in a small family. I'm one of 2 and my husband's one of 2. And our family, thank God, just kept growing and growing. And I felt really just out of my comfort zone. I was never like a babysitter or camp counselor growing up. I was never big. My cousins were miles away from me. I didn't grow up with kids around me. So I just felt very without tools. And I'm the kind of person that really needs like structure and guidance. I like having a recipe. I follow a recipe. I'm not going to get creative. I really struggle with like not having structure. And so NHA for me was like a toolbox. It gave me a toolbox that I think we've spoken about it, and maybe it was the CTI or elsewhere, but it's like doing a dance, like it gave me the dance moves that I needed to dance with my kids. Okay, they're going to go here, so I'm going to go there. They're going to do this, I'm going to do that. To like do that dance with them, and just felt very empowering, the whole experience of the 6-week course and the CT. And also now when I give the information over to parents, again, it feels very empowering to be able to explain to them, okay, your kid is going to do this. Don't freak out. You can only control your reaction. You can't control what they do. But if you behave like this, then you will feel comfortable and secure knowing that you did everything that you could do. And then the rest is, I mean, and that's all you learn for the rest of your life, to just let go. The rest you have to just like let go and accept what will be. And I'm still really trying to give myself grace when it comes to letting go. But that was really such a huge game changer for me to come to that realization.
I wasn't expecting to talk about this, but I'm curious to ask you, like, how did you see your kids react to it? And did you see a change in them or in your home? And what was that like?
So I came up in the WhatsApp group recently about language, like how do you say things that people, I think it said that some teens were uncomfortable with the way things were being worded. So when I first started with it, my kids were like, "Why are you talking like that?" Like greatness is a word that comes up a lot in in NHA. It's like, "What's greatness? Like, why are you using that word?" And I was like, I find myself using the word appreciate a lot. That comes up very more naturally to me. I say, I really appreciate that you fill in the blank. And so my kids have gotten used to hearing that sort of feedback. I think way in the beginning, we tried doing a greatness circle before they went to bed, like saying before bed, saying, I really love that you did this today, or it was really awesome that you like. And it's hard for me because I'm not a night person. I'm a morning person. So like by the time nighttime rolls around, I'm just like, get to bed. Like my patience is, very, very thin. So that didn't last too long. But I found, listen, my kids were young when I started with it, my 3 and 5, and I had an infant at the time. And at this point, it's just become very like natural to the way I speak. I always try to give compliment isn't exactly the right word, but to give like to reinforce, what I see that's going right. And so they're used to me saying that, and I don't always wait for them to be like, I don't wait for them to acknowledge that they heard me saying it. It's like sometimes I feel like I'm just speaking out into the air. Certain things I do expect them to acknowledge, like if I'm saying I need you to take care of XYZ. But when I'm just telling them, wow, like that was so beautiful the way you helped your sister, shows me how mature you are and how you're ready for responsibility. I can just say that out in the open and not like I don't need an acknowledgement that they heard me or not.
I'm laughing because I relate to that so much. Sometimes I'm like, oh, you're not listening. Let me move on with my life. Like I'm
They're
going on and on and
surprised
on, and they're
you.
like busy.
Yeah.
They're gone. They're like, okay,
Like
ma, we
they're
get it.
short. Yeah, I've learned that. And that's another thing that comes up in NHA is like you don't want to be lecturing. Like, and I feel like that works also when you're trying to give them a compliment as well. Like you don't need to be going on a monologue on how they're so awesome. There'll be other opportunities to recognize, how awesome they are. It doesn't have to all come at once.
Yeah, reading the energy in the room. I think with every new thing, like we talk about people who become like religious or learn or like, become into a new, medical like
Yeah.
way or something where it's like so exciting because it's so new to them, and then there's this like learning curve of like getting past the passionate
Right.
needing to convert everyone to what you just
Right.
figured out, like
Right. Right. So that's
letting
what I
it
love
integrate and
about.
become normal. Yeah.
So to integrate, yeah, so it becomes a daily part of our lives. And that's what I love about giving over the information is because it helps you again see like it's like difference going for a shiur than giving the shiur. You have to like, you go through the information once more and really remember why you came to it and why you love it to begin with. And that's really what happens when I teach this to other parents is I remember what struck me about it, what was so empowering when it came to this method, because to me it was just so crystal clear. It's like, okay, A, B, C, like, and I really needed that, that those guidelines in my life because that gave me the confidence to be like, okay, so my kid isn't reacting the way I want them to. My kid isn't like my kid is still having a tantrum. My kid is still having a colossal meltdown, but I know that I did everything in my power to renegotiate, reset the situation, and then I can check V and move on and feel like, I did my duty as the mom in this scenario. So that's really what I was looking for, that reassurance, and NHA gave it to me.
It's beautiful. And I got this question recently. Do you feel like your kids are weaker or less resilient or able to handle the world around them because they don't get that kind of reassurance and positivity and appreciation from their peers, from their teachers, from other adults, from the world
That's
Like,
an interesting question. Because of where we live and the time that we're living in, the topic of resilience comes up a lot. You know, my kids have had to be very, very resilient over the last 3 years, unfortunately. As we speak, my husband is in reserves. Yeah, I think as kids do, they treat their parents differently than they were to treat a different adult. So, you know, they're if even if I'm the one giving them like positive reinforcement all the time, they don't always take it the way that they would take maybe the same verbiage from someone else. One of the things that comes up in the material is that you have to say what you mean, because otherwise they're going to call you out on your, if you're not being authentic, like how important it is to be authentic, but also to really be as specific as possible, to get down to like the granular level, so they can't say things like, oh, that's not true, I'm not smart. If you're saying, what are you talking about, you're not smart, I just, like I just saw you like do your math, and I saw you doing it in your head, and so tell me, you can't deny that you're not smart. So when you get down to that granular level, it's hard for them to deny those facts, and then they go out into the world knowing, I'm smart, and it doesn't matter what someone else is going to say to me. Okay, so maybe the random, I don't know, soccer coach is not going to be like, you're amazing, you did so great, and instead they're going to be like, you really need to improve your game. But the baseline for them is coming home to a household that's telling them they're smart, they're good enough, they have everything that they need to succeed. And that is what creates resiliency in the end, I think, that reinforcement. And my kids know that they can always come, at least I hope they know, that they can always come to me, and they can always be open with me, and that they can always, if they're having a problem outside the home, they can come and discuss it with me. So if there is a character outside the home that is making them feel less than great, they can always come to me and discuss that with me. And that happens, like, thank God, because we have an open home, and I always make it clear to my kids that they can discuss. And of course, personalities matter. I have some kids that are more open and more willing, and some kids that are more introverted, yeah, reserved. I also find with time, like a more extroverted kid maybe will come home and tell me about something that happened the same day, whereas more introverted kid, I'll hear about it a week late, or 3 days late. But still, they're coming to me, they're telling me, and then I always, you want to go into superhero mode and be like, I'm gonna call them, I'm gonna tell them that's not okay, like. But my first step is like, how did this make you feel? Are you okay with what's going on, and do you want me to get involved? Or, to, again, going back to resiliency, giving your kids the tools to handle the situation on their own. Telling them, well, if I were in your shoes, I would say XYZ, or I would go to so and so and let them know. And if they're saying, I don't want to do that, I'm not willing to do that, and then the next question is, do you want me to get involved? And if the answer is no, then that's it. That's, you leave it be. And if the answer is yes, then you can get involved, but in a way that shows that you're not there to baby the situation. You're there because you care about your kid, and you're standing up for your kid. So we see that topic a lot, unfortunately, because there are kids in our circles that have really gone through so much these last 3 years. And so we talk about resiliency on all different levels. And I think it really narrows down to, if the child is getting a strong base at home, then you can expect them to deal well outside the house, and hope for the best, honestly.
do you find that they can do well in systems that are more punitive, strict, controlling? Like, do they have, maybe they're in fantastic schools that are all progressive and don't have that, but like how
I
they
think,
react to getting in trouble or having people,
right.
rip at
I
them.
think unfortunately, one of the deterrents to people making Aliyah is that people, parents are scared of the school systems here. Because a lot of people making Aliyah are going from a private school system to a public school system. That's one of the wonderful ways that NHA has really enhanced my private consultancy, is really to coaching parents and understanding, how to reinforce their kids, their relationship with their children as they're going through these huge transitions in their lives of, coming to a foreign country and starting with a new language and starting with a new school. The schools where we are, because we're in a very peripheral location. The schools where we are very mainstream. They're very cookie cutter. And there's a lot of emphasis on feelings. I mean, my daughter's in first grade, get a whole class on emotions, how to deal with emotions, which is wonderful. But when it comes to discipline, yeah, it's punitive. It's like I still don't understand the concept of school suspension. Like the kid did something wrong, so you're sending him home to play video games and be in his PJs all day. Like I will never understand that. But yeah, I mean, I've gotten messages like your kid was not okay. You know, he got in school detention. If it happens again, he's going to get out after school detention. If it happens again, he's getting suspended. You know, I've gotten messages like that, and I don't agree necessarily with the approach, but at the same time, that's the system. And I found, and this is something that I really try to emphasize to the parents that I coach, is that you can't be anti the system where you're sending your kids. You have to be at least externally to your child. You have to show that you are. Again, we're going back to doing the dance. That you're supporting your child, that you're completely 100% behind your child, but at the same time, you have respect for your child's teacher, you have respect for your child's school, if that's where you're choosing to send your child. Because if not, they're going to go into school every single day saying, this place sucks. I hate this place. You know, get me out of here. And that's just going to backfire on whatever you want to have. You know, like if you want your child to have a smooth transition into school, they need to feel like they want to be there and that it's a good use of their time. So yeah, I think even if the system isn't 100% perfect, a good friend once told me that the system is never perfect. Even when you're homeschooling, there's going to be something that you're not happy with. So so you're never going to find, and I really emphasize this to my private clients that are looking for schools here, that there's never going to be a perfect match. It's a lot like shidduchim, you know, like we're looking for what works, and you know, the school that fits the child and the child that fits the school. But there's never going to be a 100%, you know, perfect option like miracle school. You have to find what's the best match, and not some, you know, fantasy that you have in your head. And the culture here, yeah, the culture here is, I think, maybe more punitive in some ways, but the kids are also very independent, more independent, and there's more expected out of them at a younger age to handle on their own. There's less of like not nurturing, but less of
Baby.
hand holding. Yeah, babying. I don't. Baby sounds like condescending. Like I don't. You know, I don't necessarily want to say it in a negative tone.
Thank you.
But yeah, you see the kids are
Totally.
more
It's also
independent here at a younger age. And so, like I say to my clients, there's pros and cons for every system. And you see, even if the system is horrific in their eyes and like they can't believe what's happening in the schools, and they go in and they see 30 kids in a class and kids shouting and yelling and there's no teacher present, and you know, all these horrific things that would drive parents insane, the system is producing successful results. You know, the system has produced some pretty amazing adults over the years, over the last 78 years. So we're getting something right. So sometimes there needs to be some trust in the system. And again, the base at home. At home is, you know, so crucial for, you know, your values and the way you talk to each other and what you believe, and taking the time to really invest in the home environment, because not everything else is within your control.
that so much. I actually have been thinking about how I don't really have a part of like a section in what I teach and talk about to like address this, but and yet I'm like, this is a really important piece that I don't know that I feel like I should say. So this is my opportunity that yes, that idea that like our kids model how they feel we feel about others. And when
Right.
they feel that it's coming from a place of wanting to protect them and wanting to stand on their side, but when they feel that we don't respect their teachers and we don't respect their administrations and we don't respect the way the school is doing things, they come into school almost like they're going to now protect us and they're going to stand for what we stand for. And so they're going to come in and disrespect their teachers and disrespect their administration and disrespect their schools because
Right.
what do you guys even think? This is not the way a school should be. My mother said, you know, like even if they don't say those
Exactly.
words, but the energy is there of
Exactly.
like, why should I respect you?
Right.
Like they're going after what we say. And I think being cognizant of what we're saying with other adults in earshot of our children is so important, whether it's the if at the dinner table with guests, whatever it is, like people want to know, what's your community like? What are your schools like? How is your kids' experience? And if I go on a whole rant about all the bad experiences my kids have, even if they're true, and even if I'm not okay with them in my child's earshot, I'm not helping my kid be successful in the system, because it is their system. Like you said, you're sending your kid there. So they need to be successful there. And if I can find a way to stand with them, like you're saying, and do that dance, to stand with my child, empathize with my child, completely not go against my values with them, and yet also help them learn how to handle systems that are different and see the good, the pros of the system that's different, even maybe if it's not our way. And if anything, their greatness, there's that word, for handling a culture that's so different from home, and being able to rise to the occasion and be respectful, even when adults, maybe the adults aren't even being respectful, but they're still being respectful, like what that says about them. It's so important that we're modeling that for their success in the world and in these systems, like you said. So that was a cool point that came out there. Thank you. I want people to have access to you. How can they find you if they want to find more about what you do? If maybe there's someone who wants to move to Israel or is in Israel already, or whatever, for whatever reason, if they want to reach out to you, how can they find you and what can they expect?
Right. So I'm on Instagram and on Facebook, schoolinisrael.com. And you can find me through email as well. You can just email me, keren.eliezer@gmail.com. And I'm happy, even if I'm not the right person, I'm happy to make connections. I have colleagues who work in the center of the country and all over. And I'm also the point person for anyone looking to move to the north of the country in terms of education, talking about education. I'm happy to do coaching as well. I love the NHED coaching. It's such like an opportunity to share the wealth, to share all the good information that's out there. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for doing what you do, and a special thank you for talking to us at night. For you, when you just said you're not a night person and you just want to go to bed.
Especially not
You've
because
had a
I'm
lot
not
of
a night
patience with
person
me.
at
Thank
all.
you.
I know. Yeah.
All right. Till
No,
next time. Thank you for being here.
thank you. Thanks, Mussi.
Hey, wait, don't go yet. Take a minute to find the beautiful quality that you have, that you appreciate about yourself.